Behold the Lamb of God. Behold him who takes away the sins of the world. Blessed are those called to the supper of the Lamb. Lord, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof, but only say the word, and my soul shall be healed. Let perpetual light shine upon them, with your saints forever, for you are mercy. Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon them, with your saints forever, for you are merciful. And just for Holy Communion, we've plenty of help throughout Holy Communion, so just the people in the front rows came first, and then just take your time and come up, beginning with the near rows, and then move up your way back to the back. So there's plenty of help here, and we can throughout in due course. Thank you.
Don't
Let us pray. Lord God, whose Son left us in the sacrament of his body, food and word, mercifully grant that strengthened by it, our brother Peter may come to the eternal table of Christ, who lives and reigns forever and ever. The Lord be with you all. Let us bless the Lord. If you'd like to sit up now, I'd like to invite Martin and Anya up to say a few words.
Hi, I'm Anya, as most of you know, and I'm the nose grandmother. I know this is so hard for everyone, but that's only because of what an amazing man Joe actually was and still is. He is and was the best Joe, dad, husband, friend, co-worker, and more, and I'm sure you'll all agree. I wrote this poem because it means so much to me, and I'm just going to listen so much. You made me laugh, and I wanted to cry. You're my hero, and it's you and I love you. Maybe you don't understand. I'll never forget you, I promise you that. You made me so proud, and you will forever be my best friend. I'm not very kidding, I'm my own and only. I love you so much, forever and ever. Oh, yeah.
Peter, because I don't think I'll be able to do it at the end. After Mass, we're going to head to a crematorium at the airport with Mary and the family. And then they'd like to invite you back to something Toffton for a bit of lunch. And I think Mary and the family are going to be available to greet people at the front of the church as opposed to outside because it's a bit chilly out. But if you're going back to Sutton, you'll have an opportunity to greet them there as well. So if you can't get to it here, you're more welcome to get to it there. And given it's a Saturday in Sutton, for the people that are going back, if they want to park at the end of the road, we'll have somebody bring you up because it is a Saturday there and they don't normally have events on Saturday or funerals. So, on behalf of Peter's wife Mary, his daughter Siobhan and David, who's just come back from Boston, Peter's 6 grandchildren, Kate, Aidan, Anya, Ciara, David, Roman, his daughter-in-law Annie, his son-in-law Noel, brother Michael, sister Philomena, his extended family and his colleagues, and all his friends in Cargolf. I just wanted to thank everybody for attending today's celebration of Peter Keighery, a life truly well lived. How do you put into words the life of Peter Keighery? I said to Shelley many times over the last few years that I couldn't imagine what it would be like if anything ever happened to Peter. But that time has come, and it's just hard to believe. We just returned from a week in a pro-am in the Highlands of Scotland, and it was the most incredible end to an amazing 30 years on the road. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mary for sharing Peter with myself, Shelley, and the girls. I know so many other people also owe you their thanks, Mary. Your selflessness gave us an opportunity to spend a treasured amount of time with this magical man, and I can't thank you so much for that. Mary and Peter are part of our family. Mary travelled from Rosmuck to Dublin in 1961 without a word of English, as her sisters had before her and after. She settled into life in Dublin, in Suncroft, with our family. Mary was present when I was born at home and administered me my first slap when I couldn't breathe. Peter met Mary at a dance hall in the Irish Club in Parnell Square in 1968. At that time, he was part of a Cayley band, and there began a love affair that resulted in 49 years of a happy marriage. Peter used to come to our house in Sutton to pick Mary up when they were dating, and I remember he had big sideburns in those days. Peter was born in Athlone in September 1945. I was a brother Michael and sister Philomena, who I know is here. Peter went to school with the Christian Brothers in Athlone, and he left school at 13 and he went on to work at the Royal Hotel in Athlone. In his late teens, he joined the Saints show band. Peter was a talented musician, and many of you know he treasured music and shared his talents generously. Something you may not know about Peter is that he actually couldn't read music, he played by ear. In 1965, the show band travelled twice to New York on tour in search of stardom. He went on to run the nightclub called the River Club in Bachelor's Walk and also did some driving for those days. Peter and Mary got married in Rossmuck on the 8th of October 1970, 49 years to the day when he passed last Tuesday. I was a page boy at Mary and Peter's wedding, and Sabina Cassidy was a page girl. I bought a house in Georgian Hamlet, which was just down the road. I went on to have two wonderful children called Shabelle, named after my beautiful sister, and David, who lives in Boston, and who arrived home yesterday morning. Shabelle and David adored their dad, and they have 6 beautiful children between them. David and his wife Annie are expecting their second child in May. Peter adored Shabelle and David and was madly in love with his grandchildren. I was asking Shabelle about some stories about Peter as a dad. She said he was very attentive. Both Mary and the neighbours were so grateful in those early days, as every weekend he would load up the Hayes van with 6 or 8 kids in the neighbourhood and take them off for the day. After a short 10 to 15 minute walk or play in the park, he would pick them to the Lighthouse pub with the kids in tow, where he would treat them to crisps and orange, as he had a few pints to watch Man United with the racing. Everybody was happy. He was so proud of his children and his grandchildren. He celebrated and shared their accomplishments in education, sport, Irish dancing, and all their other pursuits. He wanted to know their every move, every score and every match, everything. He would attend their GA matches, and when he was home, he was always willing to help Shabelle and Noel with the kids. Peter also became very close to my 2 daughters, Sophie and Julia. He loved them deeply, and they loved him. His eldest grandchildren, Aidan and Kate, are twins. However, Peter never once was in Dublin for their birthday, as a clash at the annual football son tournament in Waterville. But he always made up for it when he got home. But Mary and Peter was club in the pub, which welcomed Peter with open arms, and according to Mary, there was very few gentlemen in it. He had many friends here, including Jack Scullion, who helped Peter build a new shed in their back garden last week for Mary. These friends at his local pub would wait to hear the tales of Peter's journeys around the world. And while he was running tournaments back in Ireland in the 70s, he would ask Peter to drive some of the golfers, including Jack Nicklaus, Ben Crenshaw, and Semi Ballesteros. He was always showered with thanks and appreciation. He was always turned out impeccably. He was very professional, respectful, and engaging. When we started Cargolf 30 years ago, Peter and my brother Jerry were the 3rd and 4th members of the team. It was then the journey began, and off we went engaging in the promotion of golf in Ireland, entertaining US golfers both here and in Ireland, but also on the road and around the world. Peter has played an amazing, major role, not only in promoting golf in Ireland, but has been a huge contributor to the legacy of Cargolf. This was evidenced by a tribute to this extraordinary man from Athlone on the Golf Channel on Wednesday morning by his good friend Matt Gianella. This is something that is reserved for greats of the game, and he was clearly one of them. Peter's 30-year journey in the golf industry is worthy of a book. I tortured him over the last couple of years to write a book, but he always had the same answer. You can't write a book without using names, and I can't name names. Peter was a prisoner, a happy prisoner. Every day he drove around the country with clients and friends, on one of his many trips to Galway with Mary. When he came into the office, you could hear him before you could see him. If you called the office, you could always hear him whistling in the background. Peter was a tireless worker who gave each of his clients and colleagues 100% of his time, and he never said no. He mesmerized them with his comfort in his own skin, his broad knowledge of sport and politics, and he was such easy company. Peter was greeted at every golf club and hotel, pub and restaurant in Ireland with, "Hi Peter." Well, Kerry was his second home. His real home was in Georgian Hamlet down the road here, where Mary and Peter have a beautiful terraced home. The kitchen has pictures of his adventures with countless celebrities over 30 years, and if they could talk, it would talk in volumes. They have the keys to about 15 neighbours' houses, and Mary always has the kettle on in time for a cuppa and a chat. Mary's sister Barbara and her family live over the back wall, and the Keighery house is always busy. We had a ritual that if Peter was in town, he would bring myself and Michelle and the girls to and from the airport. It was our way of staying in touch, especially since we both spent so much time on the road. If I was on my own, I would drive to his house, have a rasher sandwich and a cup of tea with himself and Mary, and then off we would go. My dad used to say, if you find a job you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, Peter found that job. It was a vocation. He loved his work. He was one of Irish greats, a piano player, a guitar player, a Man United supporter. He loved the Gigis and would always slip off the bookies with the Indo under his arm when his clients were on the golf course. But as his clients were coming down the 18, he would always be there greeting them with a big smile. One of his buddies said him, slipped a penny slip into his pocket last night in the funeral home. Billy used to hide the itineraries that we would print out for him with the clients so that they wouldn't interfere with his plans for them. He loved his Guinness and was always anxious to get the bus parked up so he could have his pint. He used to light a candle in every village visiting, bring his daughter and grandkids there in a couple of weeks. He touched so many lives in a way that I've never seen before. A good friend of mine, Jimmy Layden, who lives in LA, called me yesterday and said, "I'm shocked at how this has affected me." I've heard that several times over the last few days, and it was an extraordinary impact that Peter had in people's lives. It struck me most over these last few days. Jimmy also recounted a story to me about 15 years ago when he referred his boss's wife and 4 daughters who were on a girls' trip, and he referred them to us. Peter was requested to drive them. Jimmy's boss received a call at 11 o'clock one evening in New York, which is about 4 o'clock in the morning in Ireland, and his wife was there to sing song at Roman Castle. Steve said to his wife, "What are you doing at 4 o'clock in the morning with the girls?" She said, "Peter." That was 15 years ago. When we started working together, we would rent cars and vans from car rental companies, and we would even use my car and sometimes Shelley's company car. We bought our first minibus in 1995, and Peter has since had 5 minibuses over the last 25 years. In fact, we recently took delivery of a new bus, and I said to him that it would probably be his last, and I can't repeat to you in the church what he said to me, but I suspect you know what it is. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, we did a few really crazy corporate golf trips. And then it is what I would like to call the Wayne Huizinga era. I think it was the first time I saw a love affair between 2 unlikely people, one of America's most successful business people and Peter. Wayne started 5 New York Stock Exchange companies and owned 5 sports teams. He made 40 trips to Ireland and Scotland over a 10-year period, commuting on his Boeing 737. Peter, myself and Jerry would look after Wayne and his friends. Wayne loved Peter and always sat in the front seat beside him in the minibus, even if the group were on the bigger bus. He would sit in the corner of the Butler Arms, subsequently called Wayne's Corner, and watch in amazement as Peter would play the piano and random people would walk up, sing a song and disappear back into the crowd. In fact, Wayne singled out one such local, John McWinnie, who ended up singing the national anthem at Miami Stadium at a Dolphins game. Wayne went on to set up a helicopter company in 2000, and for about 10 years myself and Peter babysat those helicopters as if they were our own. We would regularly fly around Ireland giggling and whistling all the way. Wayne loved Peter and had Peter to stay at his Floridian golf club, and he also hosted Peter and his son David at the Miami Dolphins game in Miami. Peter played and hung with Catherine Zeta-Jones on the piano in the Butler Arms and sang Finbar Fury. There are endless tales. Any of you who follow Peter on social media will know that this year he hung with George Clooney, John Bon Jovi, Jimmy Buffett, Harry Styles and the Eagles. We had a social WhatsApp group in the office, and the younger members of the team adored this legend who would love to post pictures of his latest journeys. Peter more recently developed a very close friendship with another icon, Irving Azoff, who's a legend in the music industry. He loved Irving and Irving loved Peter. Irving and his friends would fly around and torture Peter, and he loved it. This summer they went on what would be the trip of a lifetime for most people attending 5 concerts and playing 7 rounds of golf in 8 days in Ireland, Scotland and England. He travelled to the West Coast each year for the last number of years, visiting his friend Irving, playing golf in Palm Springs and LA. And this year he joined the lads on a trip to Pebble Beach and played Pebble Beach for the first time. He was thrilled with that. He always stopped off to visit David on his way home in Boston. A good friend of Irving's is Eddie Q from Apple. Eddie also loved Peter. Who didn't? And Peter was on Eddie's VIP list for the latest Apple iPhones and watches. A couple of years ago, Peter was in the north of Ireland and his phone rang, and it was an English voice at the end of the phone. Peter loved English. This voice said, "I'm here in the kitchen with your mother, and I'm delivering the first iPhone 10 in Ireland from Mr. Q," to which Peter said, "That's not my mother, it's my wife." This new phone had facial recognition software, and when he set it up, he had his hat and his glasses on. So for a while after that, he had to put his hat and his glasses on. So I made a really good laugh about that in the office at his expense. Last week, he received the most recent Apple 11 XXX, or whatever it was, and with a watch, and he had Marcus and a few of the young guys in the office trying to help him figure it out on Monday. And he went home that night, and he was sitting on the couch with Mary, and the watch bleeped and told him to stand up and go for a walk. And he said to Mary, "Sure, might as well go race was for pints." Another chapter that I feel I must mention is the relationship Peter developed with Notre Dame and the Anthony family. As far as I know, Peter made 3 trips to Notre Dame, the most recent for a Bruce Springsteen concert, which was the first ever held at Notre Dame Stadium. He loved Notre Dame, and I know that there are many candles burning there this week in his memory. I'd like to thank John Anthony for making the trip from the US, and also Larry Foley, who got to spend some time with Peter recently, who also made the trip. This year was a big year, especially for a man of 74 years, but Peter wasn't one for slowing down. I often said to him, "Peter, when are you going to retire?" And he would always say, "Whenever you decide." This year he celebrated 30 years on the road. He was in California in May. We hosted a couple of big parties at the historical Open Championship in Courtrush in July, where we spent the entire week. I have fond memories of him serenading Wilbur Erskine, the secretary manager of Courtrush, who was responsible for bringing the Open, in the shebeen at the back of the house late into the night. You couldn't get in the door. There was 27 people crammed into this little shebeen. During the Open, Peter would disappear off each day to the golf course, and he would settle in the corner of Rathmore Clubhouse, Ray McDowell's home club on the grounds. That was his scene. From Port Rush, he headed straight to Waterford by helicopter, as he did, for the father and daughter tournament, where he was always highly sought after playing partner over the last 12 years. Fathers like myself, who had more than one daughter, always wanted Peter. Sophie and Julia loved to play with Peter, or Jerry. In fact, I think it was probably more fun playing with Peter than it was with playing with me. He also played with the Fosters and the Ladles, and we used to always have a row who would play with them. Aside from at home with Mary and his children and grandchildren, he was happiest in his beloved Waterville, seated at the piano, surrounded by kids and their dads, singing their hearts out. He was like the Pied Piper. It was Tiernan O'G. After the father and daughter, it was on to the father and son, where Peter was idolised by the attendees, many who, for many years, have a standing ovation marking his 30 years. The amount of people who have called to say that their kids were devastated by the news was incredible, many leaving work early to go home. He really was someone that you could not help but love. He was an uncomplicated man. He read the paper every day, always had a few small accumulator bets on the horses and the majors. He went to Cheltenham with his pals Dominic and Flo on many occasions. He was a big Man United supporter and always had a good needle for the opposition supporters in the office. There was always a ribbing going on with the younger guys. Peter led 2 lives. He was an ambassador for Ireland and Irish golf, and he was a loving husband, father, grandfather, and beloved friend to many. He used to call Mary several times a day, but religiously every night before dinner. Mary would ask Peter what time he got to bed at the night before, and he would always say, around 12. On Monday morning, Peter woke up as usual. On Tuesday morning, he brought Mary a cup of tea in bed, something he did always when he was at home. He also handed her an anniversary card, as there were
invite you to remain standing, please, for the final commendation and prayer. I'd like to thank Anya and Marty for their kind words. Before we go our separate ways, let us take leave of our brother Peter. May our farewell express our affection for him. May it ease our sadness and strengthen our hope. One day we shall joyfully greet him again, when the love of Christ, which conquers all things, destroys even death itself. The response to the psalm is, receive his soul, and to present him to God the Most High. Receive his soul. Saints of God, come to his aid. Hasten to meet him, angels of the Lord. May Christ who called you take you to himself. May angels lead you to the bosom of Abraham. Eternal rest grant unto Peter, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon him. Into your hands, Father of mercies, we commend our brother in the sure and certain hope that together with all who have died in Christ, he will rise with him on the last day. We give you thanks for the blessings which you bestowed upon Peter in this life. They are signs to us of your goodness and of our fellowship with the saints in Christ. Merciful Lord, turn towards us and listen to our prayers. Open the gates of paradise to your servant, and help us who remain to comfort one another with assurances of faith, until we all meet in Christ, and we are with you and our brother forever. Peter, may the angels lead you into paradise. May the martyrs come to welcome you and take you to the holy city, the new and eternal Jerusalem. May the choirs of angels welcome you and lead you to the bosom of Abraham, where Lazarus is poor no longer. May you find eternal rest.
when the